Good morning, y'all. Your favorite little keto goofball Diamond back again. This morning, a little annoyed because the article kept on popping up on my phone telling me I must read this. It is a new article on the health benefits of low-fat dieting. Now, this article is by the Washington Post, which, anyway, you can find it by simply Googling Washington Post low-fat diet. As you can tell, I'm not impressed. It is on a research study, so I thought we'd go through the article together and I'd give you my thoughts on it. My very slightly redneck thoughts on it, but that's all right. Thoughts nonetheless. So the article is titled, Lower Fat Diet Reduces Women's Risk of Dying from Breast Cancer, Study Says. But does it really say that? You might be surprised. Now, before we get too far into it, I want you to know how these newspapers and stuff work. They know that the average reader is lazy, that they're going to read the title and maybe the first paragraph. After that, not so much. So the first paragraph is always dramatic. It makes sure it gets the point they want you to have across without telling you everything. So that first section says, women who followed a lower fat diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and grains had a lower risk of dying of breast cancer than those on a higher fat diet, according to the results of a major study released Wednesday. Now pay attention, this was just released yesterday. That's going to come in, that's important in a minute. The conclusion from the latest analysis on the federally funded Women's Health Initiative, federally funded, aka we want your money from the taxpayers, and we don't really care what we tell you, but we'll take your dollars. So, provided the first randomized clinical trial evidence that diet can reduce postmenopausal women's risk of dying of breast cancer, the researchers said. Past observational studies which do not measure cause and effect have had inconsistent findings. Past studies, inconsistent findings, okay. Just so y'all got that part. And it generalizes women, but in the article further it says postmenopausal women were the ones checked. So that's a generalization. Our bodies are different from age group to age group all over the place, okay? Now, that's just so y'all know. The results are exciting and empowering for the patient, says Elsa Port, chief of breast surgery at Mount Sinai Health System in New York, who was not involved in the study, but the study, the way they read it, benefits her, because if you guys get healthy, she goes out of business. Just saying. This is a wake-up call for women. There's something they can do rather than just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Well, daggone it. She sounds serious. This must be important. The trial involved more than 48,000 women who did not have breast cancer when they enrolled in the study and was conducted at 40 centers across the United States. That sounds good, right? 48,000 women, that's a nice large group. 40 centers, that's a lot of places. That sounds good, right? We'll get to that. Oh, and by the way, it says they did not have breast cancer when they enrolled in the study. It does not tell you that some of them did have it before the study, but had went into remission pretty much. But they did. Not all, but some. This study was done from 1993 to 1998 on women who were randomly assigned to follow their... Let me get back to that, because, hold on. Sorry, my dog over there lapping up water, getting on my nerves. But the study was done from 1993 to 1998. It only took you 21 years to get this low-fat research out to us. Why on earth would y'all want to get some low-fat research out from 21 years ago right now? Could it be that a lot of people are switching to a high-fat diet, low-carb diet, so that they get healthier? Could it be the ketogenic diet is threatening the big medical industries? Just food for thought. Anyway, the women were randomly assigned either to follow their usual diet, in which the fat accounted for 32% of their daily calories on average, 32%, which means these women were already on a low-fat diet. Just so you know, they were on the standard American diet. Or to try to the other group were to try to reduce their fat intake to just 20% of their calories while consuming daily servings of fruits, vegetables, and grains. Those great for you things right there, ain't they? Sorry. The dietary intervention group fell short of their goal, though. They managed to reduce their fat consumption to 24.5% at first. So that is what, about 8% roughly? They dropped their dietary fat by 8%. But then they drifted up to about 29%. So these women dropped just 3% of their daily fat. Yeah, that's a hell of a study there. Okay, according to the lead study author, Roanne Chelbowski of Los Angeles Biomedical Research Institute at Harbor UCLA Medical Center. By the way, they add those really long titles and everything so that you don't feel as smart as you think you are, and they appear to be the authorities. Pay attention to this. This is in every article you're going to find that they want you to think is legit. Okay, so members of the group lost 3% of their body weight on average. Ooh, now that's nothing to scoff about, 3% of your body weight. But I went keto and I've lost 125 pounds from 311 pounds, at least 125. I'll tell you about the rest later today in my regular video. But how much is 125 pounds from a 300-pound woman on percentages? Just wondering randomly. No bearing on this study. Still, the women in that group who developed breast cancer had a lower risk of death from lower risk. Wow. So they still got breast cancer regularly, but they had a lower risk of death by eating 3% less fat. Who believes that? Do you believe that? Because I don't. Anyway, Chabowski said the study showed that women could improve their health by making modest changes in what and how they eat. This is dietary moderation. It's not like eating twigs and branches. It kind of sounds like it though, don't it? I mean, just saying. It's what people were eating, say, 20 years ago. Ooh, 20 years ago. You mean when diabetes was on the rise and heart disease and stroke and cancer? And I mean, that must be what our DNA is built off of, what our ancestors of 20 years ago had. Sorry, sidetrack. Before you could pick up a 900-calorie candy bar, where the hell do you get one of those? Good Lord, you know how much sugar's in a 900-calorie... That's not a fat thing. That's a sugar thing. That's a carbohydrate thing. A 900-calorie candy bar is extremely sugar-loaded and will put you in a diabetic coma. Good Lord. Okay, so I hope they're not eating that. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm sure it's good, but don't eat it. If it wasn't good, we wouldn't eat it, though, would we? So anyway, keto, go keto, high fat, low carb, don't do that. Anyway, the dietary intervention lasted for 8.5 years and included several sessions with a nutritionist, and latest analysis represents a follow-up after almost 20 years. What that means, and this is an important line in here, the dietary intervention lasted 8.5 years and included several sessions with a nutritionist. What that line means is they told them what to eat and called them on occasion to come in and talk to them about whether they ate it or not. Which means this was not a controlled study in any way, shape, or form. A controlled study is when scientists watch the people they're studying. They're in a group with them in the lab, seeing what they ate, writing down what they ate, writing down the outcome. They controlled the study. They knew what was going on. These women could have went out and instantly eat a ho-ho. You don't know. They could have been eating a super high-fat diet. They could have been eating a super low-fat diet. They might have dropped all the fat entirely because you made them feel guilty about what they were eating. You just don't know. And they followed up with nutritionists, not scientists, not the hardcore scientists. All right, the back part of that sentence. The latest analysis represents a follow-up of almost 20 years. So 20 years later, they called these ladies up and said, "Hi, y'all remember us? We had you in that breast cancer study? Yeah, well, how you boobies doing? Oh, you developed breast cancer. Well, honey, I'm so sorry. Have a good day. Click." That's what that was, okay? And that's of the people that were still living. Because, 20 years later, a lot happens, accidental and otherwise. So we don't know what the percentage was of people still living. We have no idea how many of these women actually develop breast cancer, what type of breast cancer, and if they passed away from it. We don't know. We have only the information they put here. And as far as like following up with a nutritionist, you guys only know what I eat because I tell you. You're relying on the information I give you, but that does not mean I'm an honest person. Now, I hope y'all know that I am an honest person, but you don't know. That's my point. Unless you're sitting with me, watching me eat on a daily basis, you only know what information I give you. So anyway, to me that negates any thought of the study anyway. Experts on breast cancer generally praise the study, but express some reservations. Wonder why. Let's find out. For one thing, the study was designed to determine whether a low-fat diet could reduce the risk of developing breast cancer in the first place, not whether it provided a mortality benefit. So, I don't know what that has to do with anything. But anyway, other scientists don't necessarily trust it. That's what that line says. Previously released data has shown that lower-fat diet did not result in reduced risk of developing breast cancer. That's an important line in this article and not what they would have you believe on the first paragraph and the headline. The previously released data has shown that lower fat diet did not result in a reduced risk of breast cancer. So they've got other studies. So why post this one? Where's the other ones? Show me the other ones. And show me what controls were used in that study. This is important, folks. Never read the conclusion of a study. Ever. Read the entire thing because you're missing a lot. You're only getting the information the bought and paid for scientists want you to know, or whoever's paying for the science wants you to know. That's not good enough. All right, so the breast cancer is that what they said? The breast cancer experts also noted that the mortality benefit took almost 20 years to emerge. That's because they didn't count nobody for 20 years. And some said that it was not clear which dietary component was responsible for the benefit. Was it the reduced fat? Was it the additional fruits, vegetables, or grains? Maybe these people were even taking some vitamins they didn't tell you about. We don't know. Why? Because it was not a controlled study. AKA, we don't know jack, and these people really ought to give the taxpayers their damn money back. They ought to be ashamed of themselves because the outcome of this study is we don't know. That's what it is. We don't know, but we're going to release it in such a way into the media where you think by reading the headline and the first section of this article that we know what we're talking about and we have absolute proof of it. Never read just a little bit of the article. If it's an interesting article and you might quote it at some point, read the entire thing. All right. The study author said the dietary modification group used a diet similar to the one called DASH for dietary approaches to stop hypertension. I didn't know that's what that meant, but it don't work. Which is designed to prevent and treat high blood pressure. Again, it don't work. The new study adds more evidence on the impact of diet. So basically, what they got from this study is that diet can affect your body. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Way to go, Holmes. Just saying, y'all. All right. And then this doctor says, the new study adds more evidence on the impact of diet, but I wouldn't rely on it to recommend a specific diet to a patient. AKA, we have no more idea than we did before we read this study, and it would do us no good to tell patients to eat this way because we don't know. AKA, once again, taxpayer waste of money that the Washington Post has pulled out and presented in, we know this and you should do it. Don't go keto, it might kill you. Oh my goodness. I tell patients if they eat more plant-based foods, less red meat, decrease alcohol, and maintain a healthy weight, they might have a reduced risk of breast cancer reoccurrence or death. You might. You might. I mean, maybe. Possibly. That sounds real scientific, don't it? The study did not look at the effect of diet on the risk of breast cancer reoccurrence. So they don't know. Some of them might have got it back later. It could have happened. The separate study is looking at whether weight loss achieved through cutting back calories and increasing physical activity leads to a reduction in the risk of reoccurrence. And that's the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute who are leading the study. Cutting back on what you eat and exercising. Does that have an effect on the reduction of breast cancer reoccurrence? Probably not, because only 1% of all people who reduce their calories and work out maintain weight loss. 1%. So what we're going to gain from asking that 1% of the population, did you re-get breast cancer? Probably not very much information. Although it does look like keto is having a much better success rate. I know some people do fail, but you really only fail when you quit and there's no more breath left in your body. So you can always do it again. Keto is very forgiving that way. Yeah, I'm not a proponent for keto or anything. I'm just saying. All right. Let's see. The study comes amid more evidence about the link between being overweight, obese, and the number of cancers. Being obese and overweight long implicated in heart disease, diabetes, has been associated in recent years with increased risk of 13 types of cancers, including stomach, pancreatic, colorectal, liver malignancy, as well as postmenopausal breast cancer. Don't some of these body positivity folks tell you can be happy, fat, and all that good healthy stuff forever? Because I'm sure I've heard them say that. But remember, folks, I was morbidly obese till I was 37 years old, and it almost killed me, and I still ain't skinny. Hold on. Sorry, grandbaby need to know what 8 plus 6 equals. He comes first. The study will be presented in the coming weeks at an annual meeting of the American Society of Clinical Oncology in Chicago. Why? Did y'all hear what I just read? They have absolutely no idea if anything was impacted or changed. There was a lot of mights and maybes going on there. There was a whole lot of I don't knows. But I do know one thing, guys. I know that I went with a ketogenic diet, eating high fat, moderate protein, and low carbohydrates, less than 20 grams a day, and I have reduced my medications tenfold. I am healthier than I have ever been in my known life that I can remember. I feel better than I've ever felt. I'm 40 years old and I legitimately feel 16. There were things I could not do 2 years ago that I could do running and all kinds of crazy now, okay? There was a lot I could not do eating the standard American diet that they had them on. All but 3%. So, long story short, go keto. Second long story short, read the entire article because they banking on the fact that you won't. Much love to you guys and dolls. I'll be back later with a weigh-in and show you what I ate that was keto friendly today. See you in a few.